Taking a little day trip?
No, Bob and I are driving home to Oregon.
You know, I really thought you were a ball player.
Well, you were wrong.
Was I?
Yeah. It is only a game, Jimmy. It's only a game, and I don't need this. I have Bob. I don't need this. I don't.
I gave away 5 years at the end of my career to drinking. 5 years. And now there isn't anything I wouldn't give to get back any one day of it.
Well, we're different.
Chicken shit, Dottie. You want to go back home to Oregon and make 100 babies? Great. I'm in no position to tell anyone how to live. But sneaking out like this, quitting, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Baseball is what gets inside you. It's what lights you up. You can't deny that.
It just got too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
All right, welcome back to our Humble San Diego podcast. This is episode 228, the Rockford Peaches. I am your host, the Swann. Alongside me for this special episode is Laura Corona. What's up? How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So, before we dive into the film that we're talking about this week, which is A League of Their Own, I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell my listeners a little bit more about yourself and where you come from, your background. I know you have your own podcast, so tell everyone what you're all about.
Oh, yeah, thank you. My name is Laura. I am, Mexican background. I'm a single mom. I have a 6-year-old son by the name of Jordan. And, I'm full-time worker, part-time student. I have my own podcast that I started beginning of this year, kind of like March. It's called Fostering Growth. And I grew up in foster care, so it's something kind of close to my heart to start a podcast about my kind of, self-care journey that I'm starting, because as a kid and most of my young adult age, I took care of most of my family, including my grandmother, and I never really took care of myself. And especially like growing up in foster care, that also kind of had a big impact on like taking care of myself, because I was always worried about my younger brothers and my younger siblings, like, what's more important is them, and for them to be okay, and for me to do whatever it takes, to keep us all together. And it was a tough childhood, but it made me who I am today. And it also, made me want to start the podcast to share with others how it is, that it's okay to sometimes say no, even if it is to family and friends, and you have to kind of focus on yourself, because if you don't focus on yourself, then how are you going to help others? And so that's kind of, the basics, kind of talking about, mental health, anxiety, depression, especially now during the pandemic, that a lot of people, all of that kind of, went up because of the isolation, because, staying indoors. A lot of people, especially like, one of my best friends, like she loves to go outside, she likes to go hiking, to go running and exercising and outside. And then as soon as we had to kind of stay indoors, it was like, it really hit her. And I'm pretty sure it hit a lot of other people. And so part of the podcast is also kind of finding those other different type outlets, constructive outlets, that you can kind of release that anxiety, or, even with the depression, like something to help you with. And I'm learning about it, kind of, seeing what works for me. And it's kind of like a journey for others to be like, hey, check it out. Like, what works for you? Everybody's different. Everybody has a different timeline. And so it's kind of like for me to be able to lend a helping hand without having to be there either physically. I kind of reach a larger audience on the internet. So that's kind of why I started the podcast.
That's very nice. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you don't know this, but I was when I was a kid, I was in and out of the system as well, so I can relate to your struggle in a lot of ways, and I think that's really an admirable thing to kind of create this outlet, for yourself and for others. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I have my brother on the show as well. He went through like Polensky and group homes and, the Center for Children. And that's something that I never went to. And so sometimes I feel like bringing in like my brothers or even like other people with, their stories to kind of share would kind of connect with other people. Because, like I've mentioned, everybody's, gone through a different thing. Everybody has different stories. And as much as, I would like to share my story, like it might not be, for example, I wasn't at the center. So I want to bring in like my brother to kind of share his experiences and make people more aware, because a lot of people just kind of see either foster kids as, oh my God, they have no family. Some people even thought I was an orphan when I would tell them that I was a foster kid. And they'd be like, oh my God, you have no parents? And I'm like, no, it's not that I don't have parents. It's just right now, my parents are not suitable to take care of me. And so I'm placed in the system where kind of like the government takes care of me. But I just kind of really wanted to bring attention to that in that even if we are foster kids, like we can be successful or like even keep trying, like I've mentioned, I'm going back to school. I'm 27 and a lot of my friends graduated already, even from university. And as much as it hurts me sometimes, because I feel like that could have been me too. I know that everything that I've been going through and that I've gone through before, like it's all part of my journey. And I'm more of like, no, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep going. Like, this is my speed and I'm going to keep going in school and I'm going to keep studying. And I don't want to like focus on anybody around me and what they're doing and not feel bad because of like, oh, being a foster kid, I didn't have a lot of other opportunities, or things like that. So that's another little tiny detail.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting stuff. So, as I said at the top of the show, we are going to discuss the late director Penny Marshall's 1992 film A League of Their Own. But before we get into that, we have a few warm-up segments for everyone out there. So first up is news. So, Laura, do you have anything for pop culture news this week?
Like I mentioned to you, and I don't have any new news about it, but kind of tying to my recommendations about some shows that I had been watching and some new seasons that came out. I found out that Atypical is canceled, and I think it's like last year that they announced it, but it's new news to me. And also, they did announce that Stranger Things, season 4 is also going to be coming out, but in 2022. And that's one of the other shows that I've been watching and kind of really anticipating, the new season. Yeah,
for sure. No, don't worry about if it's relevant to you, then share it, because I didn't know Atypical was canceled. So
and it's a really good show. Like it ties to my recommendations, like I mentioned. So just giving you a little shout out. It's like a teen, on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
And so he decides to kind of take control of his life, and his family's like, no, you're not ready. And he's like, no, I can do it. I can be an adult now. And I think he's even on his like last year, on his senior year, it begins like that. He kind of just sets on a path of like self-discovery, kind of like I mentioned on my self-care journey.
Yeah.
He's trying to take control of his life and starting his journey of like, okay, I'm going to make my own decisions now and not let, my mom or my family. And it's really interesting. I really, really like it. But yeah, as I mentioned, it got canceled. And so this 4th season that just dropped is its final season. And I do know that they did used to get criticism because of how, I think it was the first season, didn't really portray, I guess, autism. Like a lot of people didn't agree. And so for the next seasons, I know that they started getting, more writers and, research done through that, so they can actually have a, how do you say it? Like an actual...
authenticity? More authentic?
Yes. Yes, more. Yeah, so it could be more authentic to portraying that autism spectrum. So I don't know if maybe that was one of the reasons why it could have been canceled, but I mean it's still nice. I think people should watch it. It does make you a little bit more aware. Like I've had either friends who have family who have on the autism spectrum, or even I had a neighbor when I was younger, and at first I didn't understand it, and then after a while they're like he has autism, and a lot of he gets stimulated differently, and so it just makes you a little bit more aware of that, and I think it does share important information.
Yeah, I agree. I've watched the first season and I really liked it. Is it a Netflix original or is it on Hulu?
Yes.
It's a Netflix?
No, it's a Netflix original.
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, I enjoyed it. And all the actors on there are really good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. The different stories that each, character portrays as well, like not just the main character, but, as the family. Like it also, because I mean, I must imagine that, having a child on the spectrum, not only, is what the child affects, but like, the whole family around, and, the support system that they must be, towards the child. And then they can also get lost in like, oh, everything is about them. And then, what happens to like either family or like the individual themselves. So I think the other characters also have that conflict. And yeah, it's really interesting. I really recommend it.
All right. Atypical. And then was that it for your news this time?
Yeah, I did mention the Stranger Things season 4. I think that recently got I think it was a couple of days ago that they have been promoting it and saying that it's going to be until 2022, but that they're still filming.
It's also it's the last one, right?
Yeah, that's what they have been saying too. I haven't exactly seen that it is the last one. Like I didn't, dig deep enough to see that, but I did see that it was probably like their last season.
Okay. It makes sense because everybody's getting too old and whatnot.
I mean, yeah, that, and like I did notice, like, how it had been delayed, and I did see, that the main character, I don't know why her name just slipped my mind right now, but she's, been making other ones, like she did Enola Holmes.
Oh,
is it Enola?
Millie Bobby Brown, right?
Yes. Yeah, she did. I think it was called Enola Holmes.
Yeah, the
little sister.
The spin-off of Sherlock, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw her on that, so I was like, okay, she's been doing other projects as well, so that's why I was thinking, like, when is season 4 of Stranger Things? Like, it's a really good show, too, and, like, everybody has been waiting for it and, anticipated for it, so I finally saw that 2022 is the date.
Very nice. Stranger Things season 4, finally coming. What else? I think my co-host James, who couldn't be here, also sent me over some news, so I'll read that for you. Disney Plus's original series Loki is already confirmed for season 2.
Yes, I have not finished watching it, but I'm really into it. I think I'm into Loki more than I was Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's what I've heard, is that Loki's like better than anything supposedly that they've put out so far. Yeah,
and at first I was a little bit confused, but I mean, obviously as as you keep watching, like the story develops and everything. But yeah, I think it got my attention way more than Falcon. And I think it also is Loki's going to be tied to the new movie Doctor Strange, right?
I'm not sure if that's a spoiler or not, but.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I think to be honest, it's not that I read on the internet, but a lot of my friends and I at work like theorize. So I think that's why. I'm so sorry if that was a spoiler or not.
No, it's okay.
That's what I heard. Oops. Let me just rewind it. Loki's really good. Yeah, no, definitely. Should definitely give that a watch. Glad season 2 is going to come out.
For sure. What else? The DC film Black Adam has already wrapped production. Just a couple days